Trump believes that a summit involving Russia, the United States, and Ukraine will take place fairly soon. Are there any particular agreements or reasons behind these claims? Or has there been no progress so far?
No, there's no progress yet.
Trump stated that his patience with Putin was wearing thin and warned Russia of potential new sanctions, specifically urging Europe to join in applying pressure on the purchaser of Russian oil. How would you comment on these remarks made by the American president?
Yes, we are familiar with these statements. Russia remains interested and prepared to resolve the Ukrainian crisis through political and diplomatic means. Kyiv appears to be artificially hindering progress. No one seems willing to address the core issues of the conflict. The Europeans are interfering, and they're not willing to consider the underlying causes of the crisis, which only hampers efforts to find a genuine solution. Nevertheless, Russia continues to remain open and willing to engage in dialogue.
How is this process related to the fact that the negotiation process has stalled?
Well, listen, we've really discussed with you the fact that, yes, there is a pause, it's a pause on the face. You can see that there's no flexibility in the Ukrainian position, nor any real willingness from the Kyiv regime to engage in serious discussions. There are calls for an immediate meeting, but these seem more aimed at generating an emotional reaction rather than genuine progress, because if such a meeting were to take place unprepared, it would be utterly pointless. We, on our side, say that any high-level meetings or contacts should be thoroughly prepared beforehand, so that during such talks, the necessary developments at the expert level are already in place. But neither the Kyiv regime nor the Europeans are willing to do that.
The United States have proposed to the G7 that they proceed with the confiscation of Russian frozen assets. Have you seen this message? And how would you assess such a move?
We have seen these reports. We know there is indeed a faction advocating for the seizure of these assets, their expropriation. There is another group that tends to exercise greater caution, recognizing that the inevitable negative consequences of such actions are clear to them. Besides, not only would this seriously undermine confidence in the Western financial system, but it would also, of course, provide Russia with a legitimate basis to assert its legal rights over its property. Such measures will not go unnoticed.
Polish Foreign Minister Sikorski stated that NATO is not at war with Russia, but that Russia is at war with NATO through Ukraine. He also proposed the idea of establishing a no-fly zone over Ukraine. What is the Kremlin's view on this? Could you share your thoughts?
NATO is actually at war with Russia. NATO is at war with Russia, it's obvious and requires no further evidence. NATO is de facto involved in this conflict, providing both indirect and direct support to the Kyiv regime. Therefore, we can say with absolute certainty that NATO is at war with Russia.
A single voting day has ended in Russia. How does the Kremlin assess how it went in terms of organizing the entire process?
The key point is that in this instance, we are guided by the statements of our law enforcement officials, primarily those from the Central Election Commission. Based on these statements, there are no major violations that could influence the outcome of the election. The elections were conducted successfully. Generally speaking, not just Hindustan, but many elected governors have achieved exceptionally high results. Of course, this reflects the ongoing consolidation of society and our citizens rallying around the president and his aides. His aides. You know, he delivered such impressive results. Those who received the support of the head of state were the ones who came out on top. As for the CEC, I just want to say that traditionally, the president gives a very positive assessment of the work of the Central Election Commission. I'm confident it will be the same this time.
С такими внушительными результатами.